Shannara is a series of high fantasy novels written by Terry Brooks, beginning with The Sword of Shannara in 1977 and continuing through The Darkling Child, which was released in June 2015. There is also a prequel, First King of Shannara. The series blends magic and primitive technology and is set in the Four Lands, which are identified as Earth long after civilization was destroyed in a chemical and nuclear holocaust called the Great Wars. By the time of the prequel First King of Shannara, the world had reverted to a pre-industrial state and magic had re-emerged to supplement science. Setting: the Shannara series is set in a fictional world called the Four Lands. The Genesis of Shannara trilogy reveals the Four Lands to be located in the modern Pacific Northwest region of the United States and Canada. Much of the landscape has been changed by a future holocaust, but some landmarks remain. For example, the Columbia River still exists. Each land is named after the compass point it faces: the Northland, the Southland, the Eastland, and the Westland, and is the primary home of different peoples. The Westland is the homeland primarily of the elves, while the Northland is mostly inhabited by trolls and the Eastland is the home mostly of dwarves and gnomes. The Southland is primarily the homeland of humans. Characters: King of the Silver River. Skull-bearers were druids once upon a time, but they were subverted by the Eldritch along with the druid Brona, who would later become the Warlock Lord. They sacrificed their humanity to become winged black destroyers. But in doing this, they tied themselves to their master, the Warlock Lord, and became his dread minions. Reviewers and critics had mixed opinions on the Skull-bearers. Praise for them came from Frank Herbert, the author of Dune, who liked all of the monsters in The Sword of Shannara. He said that, Terry Brooks creates distillations of horror that hark back to childhood's shadows, when the most important thing about a fearful creature was that you didn't know its exact shape and intent. You only knew that it wanted you. The black-winged skull-bearer, for instance, is more than a euphemism for death. Tom Shippey wasn't so positive, as he thought that the Skull-bearers were very familiar to those who had read The Lord of the Rings. He found that the Skull-bearers were analogues for the Nazgul. Demons is a common name for many different creatures in novels by Terry Brooks. The Dagda is the antagonist of the Elfstones of Shannara. He is the most powerful demon locked inside the Forbidding. As such, most of the others obey him out of fear, with a few notable exceptions, such as the Reaper. He channels his magic through his Staff of Power. The Changeling, also from Elfstones, could mimic the appearance of any living thing. Though he had been denied the full use of his powers, while in the Forbidding, he was one of two demons Dagda brought out of the Forbidding to help him. This was because the possibilities were endless. All things, whether human or animal, fish or fowl, no matter their size, shape, color or abilities, he could be any of them. The Reaper was known for its killing. Unlike almost all of the demons that were trapped behind the Forbidding, the Reaper served the Dagda out of women, not out of fear or respect. Allanan is described as Brooks' most enigmatic character. Allanan is very secretive and appears only when the Four Lands need him. He is never completely honest, telling many white lies or half-truths, and informs others with information only if it includes possible risks, if the information is crucial to the task at hand, or if the situation calls for it. Allanan often called on the aid of the Olmsford family in the novels, as they are descendants of Joel Shannara and therefore the only ones who can use the Sword of Shannara. He called upon Shir Olmsford in the Sword of Shannara, Will Olmsford in the Elfstones of Shannara and Bryn and Air Olmsford in the Wish Song of Shannara. The Druids are an order of historians, philosophers, magic users, teachers and researchers. Druid magic, like most of the magic that originates in the Four Lands, is elemental. It draws from the earth, air, fire and water in various forms. Its power is enhanced or weakened by the strength of the user. Some users would find more success with talismans like the sword or the Elfstones than others. Sometimes the magic of a talisman or an external source links with the magic innate in a user, causing various results. Unlike science, magic is uncertain, and the results of its application are not always predictable. Shir Olmsford is the protagonist of the Sword of Shannara. In the universe, He is the last known person with the blood of Jal Shannara, making him the only one who can wield the powerful Sword of Shannara to vanquish the Warlock Lord. A major theme of the Sword of Shannara revolves around Sheer. Part of his quest, in addition to killing the Warlock Lord, includes finding a belief in himself, so that he will have confidence to go on. This is a search that every subsequent Brooks protagonist must undergo. Scholar Tom Shippey believed that Sheer was too familiar to those who had read The Lord of the Rings. He found that Sheer and Flick were analogues for the hobbits of Tolkien's stories. Terry Brooks stated in his autobiography that, his protagonists, Sheer and Flick are cut from the same bolt of cloth as Bilbo and Frodo Baggins. Garrett Jax is known as the Weapons Master. Garrett first appears when he rescues Heir Ormsford from a band of 9 gnome hunters, defeating 8 of them single-handedly. He killed 6, knocked out their leader, and 1 fled. The 9th, Slanter, doesn't even attempt to fight, saying that he was only working with them because he had to, and he has heard stories about the fighting prowess of Garrett. Terry Brooks expressed his desire in the beginning of Dark Wraith to further explore the relationship between Heir and Garrett Jax. Chronological list of novels. These sections list the book series in the order as their events occur within the universe of Shannara, as opposed to their actual chronology of publication, which is listed by year of publication at Terry Brooks' Shannara series. Word and Void. The Word and Void series focuses on John Ross and Nest Freemark, forced acquaintances who use magic given to them from the Word to prevent mankind from being overcome by the demonic forces of the Void. The trilogy consists of Running with the Demon, A Night of the Word, and Angel Fire East and is predominantly set in present-day Illinois. It follows Nest Freemark, a girl with magical abilities who has no known relationship to any Shannara character. Before the publication of Armageddon's Children, it was unclear whether this trilogy existed within the Shannara universe. It has since been revealed as the ultimate prequel to the Shannara novels. The Genesis of Shannara. The Genesis of Shannara series consists of Armageddon's Children, the Elves of Sintra and the Gypsy Morph. The first book, Armageddon's Children, was released by Del Rey Books on August 29, 2006 in the United States and by Orbit Books on September 7, 2006 in the United Kingdom. They cover events during the Great Wars, which are alluded to often in the Shannara series. Legends of Shannara. The Legends of Shannara series consists of Bearers of the Black Staff and the Measure of the Magic. First King of Shannara. This is the prequel to the original Shannara trilogy. Original Shannara trilogy. Also published as the Sword of Shannara trilogy by Del Rey Books, these were the first 3 published Shannara novels. The Heritage of Shannara. The next 4 books consist of the Scions of Shannara, the Druid of Shannara, the Elf Queen of Shannara and the Talismans of Shannara. These books are known as the Heritage of Shannara, are set 300 years after the original Shannara trilogy. The Voyage of the Jal Shannara. The Voyage of the Jal Shannara trilogy consists of the books Ilswitch, Anthrax, and Morgawa. It is set 130 years after the Heritage of Shannara. Similar to its predecessor, this is one cohesive story following the happenings of Beck Row, Walker Bow, and Grian Ormsford, among other characters. High Druid of Shannara. The High Druid of Shannara trilogy includes the novels Jarka Rus, Tainakil, and Straken. The Dark Legacy of Shannara. Terry Brooks' most recent Shannara trilogy, set 100 to 120 years after the events in Straken, consists of Wards of Ferry, published August 21, 2012, Bloodfire Quest, published March 12, 2013, and Witchwraith, published July 17, 2013. The Defenders of Shannara trilogy. Set 100 years after the events in the Dark Legacy of Shannara trilogy. The 3 novels will be loosely connected, stand-alone novels. The High Druid's Blade, The Darkling Child, The Sorcerer's Daughter. Short stories. Paladins of Shannara. Paladins of Shannara 01 Alanon's Quest, an ebook short story set directly before the Sword of Shannara. Paladins of Shannara 03 The Black Eryx, an ebook short story set soon after the Sword of Shannara. Paladins of Shannara 02 The Weapons Master's Choice, an ebook short story set sometime before the Wish Song of Shannara. Others Indomitable, a short story published in the anthology Legends 2, set a few years after the Wish Song of Shannara. The Dark Wraith of Shannara, a graphic novel that shows part of the events of Indomitable, along with a continuation of the story. There are 2 other short stories, according to the main Terry Brooks article. Walker and the Shade of Alan takes place during Chapter 8 of the Voyage of the Gel Shannara 01, The Ill Switch. Imaginary Friends Word Void short story published in anthology Once Upon a Time, a treasury of modern fairy tales, republished in Unfettered, New Tales by Masters of Fantasy. Television and film rights. In 2007, Warner Brothers purchased film rights to the Shannara universe that expired in 2010. Sonar Entertainment acquired TV rights to the Shannara universe in 2012. In December 2013 it was announced a series based on the second book published, The Elfstones of Shannara, was being produced for MTV. The series is being produced by Jon Favreau and Smallville showrunners Miles Miller and Al Gough. During the Shannara Chronicles panel at San Diego Comic-Con in July 2015, a teaser trailer was revealed, giving audiences a first look at the sets and characters. A television version of the trailer was shown during the 2015 MTV Music Awards. The series is to air in January 2016. References. External links. The Shannara Files fan site, Shannara Map, How Terry Brooks Saved Epic Fantasy, a dribble of ink.